After the powerful response to Part 1, Rajeev Vashista brings the next chapter of the series, Why Controlling Habits Always Fail. In Part 2, The Trap of Control, we follow Julie as she takes the next step in her journey. Like many of us, Julie believes that the solution to her emotional struggles is simple: control the mind, control the reactions, control the anger. But something unexpected happens. The more she tries to control her emotions, the stronger they become. Through a meaningful conversation with Agnus and a powerful story about two soldiers, Julie discovers a surprising truth. Sometimes the more we fight our habits, the stronger they grow. This is not just Julie's story. It is a story of all of us. At some point in life, each of us has tried to control our anger, fears, anxieties, or habits, only to find them returning with even more intensity. In this episode, Rajeev explores a profound insight. What if the real transformation does not come from control, but from awareness and observation? Watch Part 2 and reflect on your own life. You might find that Julie's journey feels very familiar. Because in many ways, Julie is all of us. Rajeev Vashista for freedom for eternity. So let's start Part 2, The Trap of Control. Why fighting habits makes them stronger. July 14th. Agnus reached Julie's house in the late afternoon. The door was open, and Julie was moving quickly from one corner of the house to another, arranging things with unusual precision. The cushions were aligned, the books were stacked perfectly. Even the flowers in the vase looked carefully adjusted. Agnus quietly watched her for a moment. She knew something about Julie's personality very well. Whenever Julie tried to control something inside her mind, she started controlling everything outside her. Julie finally noticed her. "Oh, Agnus, come in." They sat together. Agnus looked at her gently. "So, what have you thought, Julie?" Julie straightened her back with determination. "I need to control my emotions." The conviction in Julie's voice was so strong that Agnus didn't immediately respond. Instead, she simply smiled softly and placed her palm over Julie's hand. "I'm always here in case you ever need me." Julie smiled confidently. She truly believed she had found the solution. Control the mind, control the emotions, control the anger. Problem solved. But as Agnus left that day, she felt a quiet sadness. Not because Julie was wrong, but because Agnus knew something Julie was yet to discover. Controlling the mind rarely works. Still, Agnus was hopeful. Julie had taken the first step, acceptance. The journey had begun. Let's come to July 20th. Julie sat in Agnus's living room staring at a cup of tea that had already gone cold. For 5 days she had been trying something new. She was trying to control her anger. Every time irritation appeared, she clenched her teeth. Every time frustration came, she forced herself to stay silent. Every time a harsh word tried to escape her lips, she swallowed it. At first, she felt proud of herself. She thought she was finally becoming stronger. But slowly something strange started happening. The anger didn't disappear. Instead, it grew stronger inside her. It felt like trying to hold a boiling kettle shut with bare hands. The pressure built silently, and then suddenly it burst. That morning, a small incident had triggered another explosion. The grocery delivery boy had brought the wrong brand of milk. Julie had shouted at him so loudly that the poor boy apologized 3 times before leaving. Now she felt ashamed again. Why does this keep happening? Julie said in frustration. Agnus listened quietly. "You're trying to fight it," Agnus said gently. "Of course I am," Julie replied. "Isn't that what I'm supposed to do?" Agnus smiled. "Not always." Julie frowned. "What do you mean?" Agnus leaned back in her chair. "Julie, have you ever tried not thinking about something?" Julie nodded immediately. "Of course. And what happens?" Julie sighed. "You end up thinking about it even more." Agnus nodded. "That's exactly what you're doing with your anger." Julie stared at her. "You're trying to control it, suppress it, push it away. And the more you fight it, the stronger it becomes." Julie felt uneasy hearing this. "But if I don't control it, I'll hurt people again." "Maybe," Agnus said softly. "But fighting it isn't helping either." Julie remained silent. Her mind replayed the last few weeks. The meeting explosion, the arguments, the constant pressure in her chest. Maybe Agnus was right. Maybe the battle itself was exhausting her. Agnus continued. "Imagine holding a ball underwater." Julie listened. "You can push it down with all your strength," Agnus said. "But the moment your grip loosens, it shoots back up." Julie completed slowly. "That's what your anger is doing." Julie took a deep breath. "So what should I do?" Agnus smiled gently. "Instead of controlling it, try observing it." Julie looked puzzled. Just notice it, Agnus explained. When anger comes, don't fight it. Don't justify it either. Just watch it. Julie frowned. That sounds too simple. It is simple, Agnus said. But simple things are often the hardest to practice. Julie sat quietly. For the first time, the idea of not controlling her anger sounded strangely peaceful. Still, she wasn't sure if it would work. Before Julie stepped out of the house, she heard Agnus say something. Don't wait for your hostile mind to take over before you use this skill. Julie stopped. What do you mean? Agnus smiled. Why don't you sit for a moment? I'll tell you a small story. Julie walked back and sat on the couch. Agnus smiled. It was her favorite story. Army men and their rifles. Alex and Alfred were extremely close friends, yet they were completely different personalities. Alex loved learning through practice. Whenever a new technology arrived, he immediately began experimenting with it. Alfred, on the other hand, believed knowledge came from books. He read constantly. He studied theories, scenarios, and strategies. But when it came to practice, he did it half-heartedly. Both of them eventually joined the army. During training, they were given access to different weapons and ammunition. They were told to train themselves. Alex took the instructions seriously. He attended every training session. He practiced shooting for hours. He participated in simulations where real battlefield scenarios were recreated. Mistakes were corrected immediately. His instincts sharpened. Alfred followed a different path. He read manuals. He studied war strategies. He listened to veteran stories. He believed reading all possibilities made practice unnecessary. 2 years passed. Then one day the war began. Both Alex and Alfred were sent to the battlefield. And suddenly the theories ended. Real gunfire echoed across the land. Bombs exploded. Smoke filled the sky. For the first time in his life, Alfred heard bullets flying past his head. Fear gripped his body. His hands began trembling. His breathing became shallow. He looked at Alex, but Alex looked different, calm, focused, alert. His training had prepared him. He knew what to do. He knew when to move. He knew how to respond. Alfred looked at him helplessly. Alex turned briefly and said something that Alfred would remember forever. Sorry mate, this is war. I cannot give you hands-on practice now. You are on your own. You can be an asset or a liability, based on how much you have actually practiced. That moment Alfred realized something profound. Books could inform, but they could never replace real experience. When Agnus finished the story, Julie kept staring at her. I understand what you're saying, Julie said slowly. Then she asked quietly, how should I practice this? Agnus smiled warmly. Whatever you do, just observe yourself. Remain non-reactive. Eventually observation becomes natural. Julie looked surprised. Seriously? Agnus nodded. Julie still seemed unsure. Comparing rifles in the mind seems very different, she said. Agnus smiled. Yes, and no. One is tangible. You can see it. The other is intangible. But both are tools. For the mind, I prefer the word technique. Julie listened carefully. Then something unexpected happened. She suddenly felt heat rising in her arms. Her mind whispered sharply, she's lecturing you. This makes no sense. Tell her she's wrong. For a moment Julie wanted to explode. But then she remembered. Observe it. So she stayed silent. She simply watched. She noticed the tension. She noticed the urge to react. The discomfort increased. Then suddenly, the feeling faded. Julie felt normal again. She looked up and noticed Agnus watching her carefully. What? Julie said. Nothing. Agnus smiled. What happened? Julie looked astonished. I saw myself getting angry. My mind was instigating me. I just kept watching. The feeling became stronger. Then suddenly it disappeared. Julie stared at Agnus with amazement. Agnus smiled. Julie moved closer and hugged her tightly. This is what I meant, Agnus said softly. Accept. Observe. That's all. Julie suddenly knew. She didn't want to be Alfred. She wanted to be Alex. Let's move to July 22nd. Julie stood in a supermarket queue. A man in front of her was arguing loudly with the cashier. The line wasn't moving. Julie felt irritation rising. Her jaw tightened. Her heartbeat increased. Normally this would be the moment she exploded. But today she remembered Agnus's words. Just observe. Julie closed her eyes for a moment. She noticed tension in her shoulders. She noticed heat rising in her chest. She noticed the thoughts forming in her mind. Why are people so slow? Why is everything inefficient? But this time she did something different. She didn't fight the thoughts. She didn't act on them either. She simply watched, like clouds passing through the sky. Within a few minutes something surprising happened. The anger faded, not magically, not dramatically, just slowly, like a wave returning to the ocean. Julie felt lighter. For the first time in weeks she smiled. Maybe Agnus was right, maybe the problem was never anger. Maybe the problem was the fight with it. In part 2 of the series, we see Julie taking what many of us believe is the right step, trying to control her emotions and reactions. Most people believe that if they simply control anger, suppress irritation, or fight their habits, everything will eventually fall into place. But something important often gets ignored. Before solving any problem, we must first clearly identify it. Julie had already begun that journey in part 1 when she recognized the pattern of her perpetual agitation. Yet, like most of us, she assumed that the next step was to control the mind. However, this part of the story reveals a powerful truth: controlling the mind rarely works. The more we try to suppress emotions, the stronger they return. What truly begins to help Julie is something much simpler: acceptance, observation, and learning to let go instead of fighting. Sometimes the solution is not to wrestle with the mind, but to watch it without reacting. And that small shift begins to change everything. In part 3, we will see how this simple yet powerful practice starts creating real transformation in Julie's life. If this story resonates with you, it may be because Julie's struggle is the struggle of many of us. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment if you found the story meaningful. This video is created by Rajeev Vashista for the Freedom for Eternity channel.